cool electronic do thing.
Thanks for the feedback. Yeah.
What's it saying? It's thinking about recording, is it?
It just takes a few seconds.
Oh yeah.
Should be.
Okay.
Thinking about it. That's why.
So Steve is coming to listen to you present as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Make yourself at home.
Wow.
No pressure.
All right, that's recording. So back to me, back to guest HDMI, lectern computer. Whoosh. Okay.
Well, as you were, sorry, we're starting again.
All right. So now we're rolling, now we're recording. So Vinci Resolve, as I was saying, named after the legendary Renaissance designer, inventor, Leonardo da Vinci, painted the Mona Lisa, did drawings of submarines and helicopters before we even had engines, but that's beside the point. So this is free software from Blackmagic Design, who make all sorts of cool stuff like hardware, software, cameras. We've got a number of tools that you are all available to borrow in the Fab Lab, which is a Blackmagic 6K camera, which you could go and shoot for Netflix with. It's that powerful. So anyway, so we go to this website, we download the software, and let's just get right into it. So what I'm going to do is open up Vinci Resolve. This is probably going to go horribly wrong because it's a live demo and I haven't rehearsed any of this, so this is going to be interesting. So this is what's going to happen when you first open the software. It's going to load, it's going to do its thing, working under the hood here, one would hope.
Now remember, Gerard, that you have to speak slowly.
Oh yes, because I do have an accent as well, so yeah, to be sure. So I've got a what? So yeah, so you get to your home window, which will get the opportunity. So let's just start at the very beginning and just go new project. And we'll call this project, call it what you're going to call it. In the movie industry, what we usually do is we go year, month, day, because when you archive stuff, it's going to, by name. That's what we do. So we'll go 2023, 08. Did I say year, month, day? Yeah, 2023 year, month, which is the 8th. Sorry, day, which is the 23. And then we'll go design, demo. Let's just say, alrighty. All right, so if our main window's in DaVinci here, so this is what you'll see at first. So if you're not seeing what I'm seeing, you pull down your workspace thing, show page navigation. If I untick this, all that stuff will disappear at the bottom. So I'm just going to tick this again and go show page navigation. And you'll see at the bottom here, we've got a number of windows. First one being this one, which is our media pool. So this is where we just go through our hard drives, our SD cards, whatever it may be, and we're just going to pull media in. Second window, this is the cutting room. So basically, this is if you're dealing with a huge amount of media, which you would in the movie industry, like you've 8 cameras. This is where you would sort of cut stuff up and go, yeah, nah, I'll take that one. I won't take that one. I'll take this one. This one, the editing window, pretty much where you're going to spend most of your time is where we will edit in detail. This, the color grading page. This is Fusion. This is effects and things like that. We'll get into that later. This is color grading. Now, when you first see this, it looks like the cockpit of an alien spaceship or something, but we'll go more into that. This is what Mary was talking about. This is audio dedicated to Fairlight, which is your audio mixer when this will all start to appear. And the last one with the rocket is delivery. This is where we'll export stuff to, whatever it is we're exporting to, which is different media, maybe TV, cinema, that kind of stuff. So, all right.
So bear in mind that we're trying to keep things quite simple so that students don't get overwhelmed and feel that they have to.
Yeah, I mean, this can go
for television
extremely far with this stuff. So it's it's interesting, definitely, for sure. So let's just pull in a bit of media, perhaps. That would be a good place to start. So we've got color page part 2 here. So, by the way, on the website, on Blackmagic's website, there's a bunch of training you can do in DaVinci Resolve.
Really good.
The training is incredible. It actually, not only will it give you the project file, but it will give you all the professional footage to work with. So you can download this stuff. You can become a certified DaVinci Resolve professional. They'll give you a video to follow along with, and they'll give you the project files. They'll give you like professional footage to work with, which is totally amazing. Like you're basically editing, along with Harrison Ford, who was Han Solo in Star Wars, narrating, which is, so to get that kind of professional footage to actually work with is, and yeah, introduction to color, advanced color. So yeah, the training is amazing and it's free once again, which is, really cool for all of us. So yeah, let's pull in some media here. So what I'm going to do is we go to our first page here, media page. I'm going to just pull in some media. And pretty much as easy as media files, just grabbing loads of it and just literally pulling it in here. And it's going to, yep. And now see it's all appeared here. So these are all different.
Can I ask you a question, Gareth?
Yes.
Do you have to set up your timeline settings, or do you just...
It will do it for you automatically. So now I've pulled in all the media. So this is the media pool. So imagine this is just where I'm looking at it. So I'm going, okay, what have I got going on here? So I click on a file. It's going to tell me it has all the metadata. I've got different stuff here going on. Like this is Blackmagic Raw. This is all different stuff. There's MOV files, and it's telling me all that. So what I'm going to do is just go Command A, right click, and say create new timeline using the selected clips. And then here we go. It's going to say, all right, start time code, timeline name. It's good to name your timelines because you can get multiple timelines going on if you've got multiple scenes. So once again, the movie industry works on this basis of a thing we call the pipeline, which is when you have lots of people working on stuff. I mean, you see the movie credits, there's like thousands of people working on movies, and so we have the pipeline. Name your timeline. I'll just name this demo. You can name it whatever you want, and then we go create huge project settings. Alrighty. So hopefully it's gone ahead and done that for me. So it has. So now you can see in the edit page. So if we go down here, so I was on the media pool. So that's where I pulled all this in. We have the cutting room where I could have gone and set in points and out points. So we'll get into that in 1 second. Or I could have gone, nah, that's a bad take. That's a good take. Don't want that. Like if you had 8 cameras, and you have heaps and hours of footage, that's where this comes in. But let's just jump straight in for the basics. I don't want to get too into this. So this is the timeline. So what I'm seeing here is a media pool. I'm just going to kind of close it off to give me more room. So timeline is linear. And you're wondering why this is, so it's okay. It's milliseconds, seconds, hours, days. That is days, because the BBC and stuff, when they're doing time-lapse, you can have time-lapse over days. Which is unimaginable to us, but it is what it is. Right, so here we have a bunch of navigation tools. You've got like your arrow, your deletes, your blade tool, your override, your magnet, all this stuff. So these are cool things to view your timeline. So this will kind of close up on it. This is like view the whole timeline as one. This is like kind of dial in a little bit. Of course, you can adjust these manually. If you really want to get in close to something and see what's going on. So my video and audio over here, you can, like Premiere, you can sort of squish this up if you like to view your timeline a bit better. If you held down Shift, if I had a better mouse, that'd be cool.
Thank you.
It's good, man.
That's the
So we're being on the other side of this. All right, so what was I saying? Oh yes, timeline. So what I really want to just say first is we have this thing called, if I may, the JKLIO standard. So JKLIO, excuse my terrible writing, JKLIO, which is, if you look at your QWERTY keyboard, so this is about navigation, and you can almost type a movie faster than you do with it. I'm being far more accurate with a keyboard and mouse. So L, if I press L, or if I press space, hopefully this is going to work, or it's not going to horribly backfire me. So see, space is basically stop and go. If you press L, see the way it's starting to fast forward and rewind? Like the more I press, so if I press L once, twice, 3 times, K is stop, J is rewind. So in time, you can navigate through stuff really, really, really quickly. I is in point. So that's the in point, and O is your out point.
So that's making a cut.
Making cut, in point, out point. And this comes with delivery, really, that if you want to do this, so when I go to render my footage, it's saying the in and out range. So it's important to tell it that I is in, O is out. So in, out, JKLIO. And the arrow keys are really, really important. So if you press up arrow and down arrow, you'll see down arrow, it's going to the next clip, the absolute dead center start of your next clip. And same with up arrow, it's going back to the start. And the left arrow and right arrow is really important because it's a frame by frame. So basically, imagine this dude, you see him, he's walking there, he's like, just if I wanted that point, and let's say somebody came into the shot, I'm like, ah. So I can get the exact moment where that person's fingers or face came into the shot, and I can go, right, frame by frame, that's how I want to cut. So that's left and right arrow is frame by frame. Up, down arrow, next clip. JKLIO, rewind, fast forward, real time, extremely quickly. So yeah, if you get into the cutting and the rendering and stuff, that is really, really important. So OS home is go to the very, very start of your timeline. And end is go to the very, very back of your timeline. So let's say I'm happy with all this. I'd go home. I'd go I for in point. I'd go end, O for out point. And that will give me exact cuts and places where I want to cut. So what else can I talk about in terms of, oh yeah, so another really, really awesome tool is, which you'll be using heaps, I'll go back into my edit window, is the blade tool. So there's a cool shortcut for this. So let's say I'm navigating, I'll just gonna make this a little bit bigger.
Point to the blade so they can see it.
Yeah, so this is the blade tool. So you can shortcut to that by pressing B and see it becomes a blade. And now you're seeing this blade. But I think it's really inaccurate to do this with a mouse or with a kind of, A is for arrow, to go back to arrow. But what I do is what I usually end up doing is kind of navigating. So let's say this runner here, I go right. When she reaches the hedge, that's it. That's where I want it. So I go Control A, which selects, see everything's glowing red. Or you can go your clip. Let's say I go red. She's just reached the hedge. Cool, that's where I want it. So I'm just going to select this clip. And you just go Control B, which is Control Blade. And see the way it's made a cut? It's now half that clip. So it's made sort of what is effectively a new clip, and so I don't want the rest of it. So what I'm going to do is what's called a ripple delete. So when you have multiple clips and multiple timelines, what will happen is you will knock your timeline out of sync, and you don't want to do that. So if I just go ahead and backspace and I delete that, now there's a big hole in my timeline. So now there's nothing. I've just made nothing, which isn't, is what it is. If that's what I want, fine. But you don't want nothing because nothing is boring in the world of video. So what we do is what we call a ripple delete, is we select this and we go shift and backspace, and now it will drag the timeline, it will drag everything previous to that where I've left the hole. So there is no hole now, which is a cool and awesome shortcut. So yeah, that is the basics of editing, the JKLIO, navigation, up arrow, down arrow, frame by frame, in time. Yeah, so that's a cool tool. What else can I talk about here?
To make it clear, the top is clearly the video where you've got the thumbnail images so you can see what's what. And the bottom is your audio, the green
Yes.
ribbon there.
Yeah.
And that's honestly where you most often use the arrow keys. Because when you're working with the audio, sometimes you hear pops and clicks. There you go. So now you can probably even see a pop and a click. And you're you're working on incremental measures to get rid of a pop. Might just be half a frame, and you just cut it out, and you find actually that usually that works. It disappears because you don't want the hallmark of amateur filmmaking is really the audio. It can be incredibly rusty, and there are lots of ways you can smooth it.
That's totally correct. So the thing that separates the amateurs from the professionals in the world of video and the world of movie making is lighting and audio. Anyone can point a camera at something, and the cameras these days are amazing. Your iPhone 13 is absolutely off the gate, amazing camera. But what separates the amateurs from the professionals is lighting and audio. Imagine a camera as being anti-light. It needs light. It needs light. It interprets light. It is the interpreter of light, and audio is like, the camera on your phone is going to be pretty bad. So what we usually do is we use multiple audio sources. Like we mic people up with lavalier mics. We use shotgun microphones. We deploy audio recorders. So very often we only use the audio from the camera just to sync up video, which is a totally awesome thing as well. So if I have a clip and I right click on this, you'll see a bunch of options that are available here. So you've got normalized audio levels, which is good. So, very often you'll find in a lot of scenarios you'll have a lot of different audio levels. Some of them are louder than others, blown out. Before you do your mixing, it's nice to normalize everything, because if things are at different perspective levels of volume, it's going to be impossible for you to mix it. Like if I'm hearing something at 22 dB and then the next one's at 8 dB and the next one's at -6, it's going to be impossible for me to mix. So normalizing your audio levels is going to get everything to be equal. And then you can kind of interpret what his loudness is, which is,
Can you show them how to drag that line up and down? That.
Oh, right. Okay, so if you hold down Shift, I don't have a mouse, which would be lovely if I did. So with your audio and video timelines, if you have multiple, then now you can get right into the waveform. And I could see the waveform, like Mary's talking about, which is obviously a graphical representation of a sound wave and its peaks and troughs, and, where stuff is loudest and where stuff is quietest. So yeah, you can get really, really detailed into it. And like Mari said, if you wanted to, let's say if this was blown out, you could actually just cut that bit out. I could make a cut there, go frame by frame, go, oh, there's that's where that's the pesky click or a big massive pop. I'm going to cut it, I'm going to go, control, I'm going to select the clip. I'm going to go control blade. And then I'm going to go the other side, control blade. And let's say if we did want to remove this part, and then we select this again, and we go shift backspace, ripple delete, boost, gone.
It's taken out the picture. So do you have to unlink the picture and the audio then?
Sticky
If you right click on the thingy jigs, will it let you unlink it?
Yes, yeah, you can unlink. So these clips are linked. So at the moment, usually any video or clip will be linked to its audio. But if I didn't want that to happen, I can unlink the clip. And let's say if I just wanted to take out the audio, did I do that properly? No, I did not. So right click here, these clips are linked, but now they're not. So now I've unlinked them, and now I could just take out the audio instead of taking out the picture.
So if you're listening to that, all of a sudden there'll be no sound. And
Yeah.
it's very strange to hear no sound. So you need to add the bass line of the room tone or location sound. So wherever you're filming, usually you film maybe 30 seconds or a minute of just what to you sounds like silence, but actually it's called atmosphere, and every place that you film in has atmosphere. It's got a quality to the bass line before people start talking or before people start playing instruments or in between. So you need to have a store of that so you can lay it in so that you don't have any black gaps. Anyway.
No, that's incredibly good advice. Ambience, we call it. So if you close your eyes even here, hear that? We'll always hear sound. So vision, you can close your eyes, you can stop vision, but audio, you can never stop audio. It's something that we can control. It's one of our senses that isn't, that we can never stop and is always there. So that siren that just went off in airplanes, if you didn't want that in your movie, at least if I have got a recording of 30 seconds of just ambience, I can recut that back in and it won't be weird. If I decided to do that. All right then, so what's some of the fun stuff I can show you?
So your room tone or your ambience, your atmos, has to be recorded in the same location as the images.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go, oh, I forgot to do the atmos, so I'll get some recording when I go home. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's just going to be weird. And humans are very astute at this, we're very aware. And so it's to record in the setting, just to deploy your audio recorder, 30 seconds of silence. What seems seemingly silence can be incredibly useful when you return to your edit and you're kind of going, right, a police car just went by, I don't want that in my video. I'm just hoping I have my 30 seconds of ambience to recut back in. So in talking about, what else can we talk about here? Okay, so we've got a bunch of footage. This is
Dissolves.
What do you want to talk about?
Dissolves? A dissolve, like a transition?
Oh, yes. All right. Okay. So some of the video and audio transitions that you can do. So
This is not a test, by the way.
okay. So yes. All right. So in DaVinci, you're never really kind of destructing anything. So all these files, I'm never destroying them. So if I do make a cut, let's just say here, so let's just do that. If I drag this clip into this one a little bit, I can still move, that clip still exists, if you will. I can still move this clip back to where it was. So you're never really destructing stuff. The timeline is just basically getting this media and rearranging it and kind of, but we have a number of transitions, I suppose you could call them. So I've just dragged this clip a little bit into this one just to show a little bit. Okay, I'll just do that because that's what it is. So now, see the way this clip is sitting on this a little bit? So if we go into, I suppose, what is, where am I? Effects. All right, so we've got a bunch of stuff. Actually, before we talk about that, what I'd actually like to talk about is just a couple of more basics that are you'll see with every clip is that you have this thing, the inspector. So if we'll just pull down the inspector a little bit more here. So this is important because inside the inspector, how do I make this a bit bigger? I'm so used to dual screen, 2-monitor DRH stuff. All right, so in every clip, you have your inspector. So the inspector tells you what's going on with the audio. There's no audio in this, so that's why I'm not seeing it. So this is a better thing. So it tells me the audio, what's going on with video. But there's a lot of really cool things you can do here, like transform, so zoom. So first of all, you see transform, and transform is, so imagine I wanted to zoom in this clip. If I enter a value, 2, it's XY, so now I've really jumped in there. You can alter this value. It's really annoying without a mouse. Let's say if you see black bars and stuff, enter a value, 1.2. Now I've zoomed out a bit more, but you can see position, XY position. I can shift this video to the left, to the right, up and down. As you can see, by XY position, you can always press reset if you like. And these little diamonds are what we call keyframes. I'll get into that in a while. So let's say if I wanted to start here, I would hit the little diamond, and then let's say here at this point, I wanted to zoom in to a value of 1.5. And then I just hit the little diamond again, and then it will slowly zoom in time to the keyframes that I've set. And you can always reset these with the little wheel at the side. Rotation angle, we can rotate. So if you've shot with an iPhone or something's a little bit askew, you feel that, oh no, my camera wasn't level, you can zoom in a little bit into it and make it level again.
People often do moves, and if they're importing still frames, like they got a family photograph or something, and they're talking about their auntie, and there's a whole lot of people, then there'll be a slow move into Aunt Jemima.
You can flip stuff as well, and if you didn't, let's say if you forgot to mirror your video or something, and then somebody's t-shirt has a logo on it, but now it's backwards because the video isn't mirrored, you can do all that sort of flipping. Cropping as well, it's just like on your iPhone and stuff, well, your phones, what you're used to, crop left, crop right, like, oh, I'm gonna crop left, so I'm gonna crop right. Dynamic zoom, this is awesome little tool for, let's say if we just go to a shorter clip, like this one. Dynamic zoom would be like, it's very good for still images. So now that it's on, you can see there's a few options here: linear, ease in, ease out, ease in and out.
So it does it automatically.
Yeah, or you can actually, it's awesome. And you can set it to, so if I go, let's say ease in, so this clip with it, it's gonna, that was a little bit too fast because that was a really short clip. Let's just try it with this one then. So dynamic zoom, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm going to go linear, ease in, ease out. So if I go, let's say ease in. So across this clip, the camera is kind of, I don't know if that was a good example. It's much more effective on still images. It'll basically animate a still image for you. It'll like pan into the still image or pan out of the still image. And, because still images, when you're adding stills to your videos, stills are boring. So video, it's boring. Nobody wants to see a stock still image. So if you put a bit of dynamic zoom on it, it's nice. It's animating it for you, and because people get bored, our attention spans suck these days. They're nothing. Yeah, like right.
Well, we like movement.
Oh yeah, thanks. There you go. Yes, people like movement.
Can either be a movement outside of the frame, and I mean like the camera is moving. So panning is this: the left to right. It's short for panorama. The up and down is called tilting. So you're tilting down and you're tilting up. So you don't pan up and pan down. Pan is the left and right move. Tilt up and down, and moving in and zooming in, or tracking in and tracking out. And so if we don't have any camera movement, and there's no movement of people running or dancing or something in the frame, then we inject movement by what Gerard's showing you now.
Okay, so let's see if I can actually even give you an example. If I have any still images.
As keyframes and doing all this stuff, I need to practice.
Yeah, no, it's
I don't do it often enough for it
have
to
I
be-
got any still images? Creative Arts logo, PNG, perhaps. This would be a good example. Maybe, I hope. Go back to my media pool. I'll just pull in a image, still image. Okay, cool. So here's an example. If I use a still image, back to my edit page, back to my media pool, and see I've just added this here. So this is my University of Vulcan Creative Arts Industries. So I'm going to put that on my timeline.
So you just drag it in.
Just drag it in, yeah.
Where's
Or
it?
you can right click and go create new timeline, insert selected clips to timeline with the time code, with handles, create. We'll talk about bins and organizing stuff later on, but anyway, just for the time being, let's just stick with one thing. So we're just talking about dynamic zoom and a still image. So as you can see, this is playing on the timeline. Pretty boring. University of Vulcan, Creative Arts Industries. By the way, at any point I think you can hit full screen to, I'm just so used to having more monitors than this. So, all right, so let's go dynamic zoom on this. So see the way it's just a totally boring still image, dynamic zoom. Now I'm gonna go linear. Let's just try that. Let's see what it does. So see the way it's now kind of nicely panning out in it. And then we can swap the way that goes. So if I wanted to go the other way, now it's gonna zoom in on the University of Vulcan Creative Arts Industries. Whoa, it's much nicer than just having a, that's still, so stills are boring, and anything over 2 seconds in video production is an eternity. If you watch TV, you watch Bravo, you watch the Real Housewives of blah blah blah. Look at the way the cameras are done. Bang bang. Everything is just the way we perceive things. It's. I know. Sorry, it's a bad example, but
No,
what I'm
it's
trying
not.
to say is in production,
You need to breathe.
2 seconds is an eternity in video production. So they say. What other cool stuff? Oh, you want? Okay. Oh, yeah. We're still talking about the.
Imagery. That's hilarious. That's the old TV aspect ratio, 4:3.
Mm.
4 along the top and 3 down the sides.
1,000%.
That's funny.
So yeah, you've got stuff like stabilization, which is if you had a really shaky camera or just stop stuff from bouncing, that's really powerful too. It will analyze your clip. You can choose a clip, go stabilize. It will figure it out what's going on, and you might have to zoom into it a bit because what it will do is it will sort of kind of cut the edges off it and stabilize it in time. What else have we got? Cropping ratio. You can smooth things. Lens correction. Yep. Analyze it. If there was distortion, if you shot into the sun or something, which happens. Real time and scaling. This is other stuff. Super scale. So yeah, this is, as you can see, there's a huge amount of features that you can do to your different clips. So that was
Then you could
the
add
inspector.
more sound tracks.
Again, sorry.
Add more sound, audio tracks.
Yes, yeah, totally, absolutely. So this is another thing. So at the moment we're just seeing one linear timeline. So let's say if it would be maybe you're right, a good example to pull something else in over the top. So at the moment, let's see if I go back to my media pool. All right, so I've kind of lost scale. So if you hold down shift as well, you can shrink this and make it bigger and smaller and, kind of, if I want to see my audio, or shrink it if I had multiple audio tracks. So we'll see if we can do that. Maybe that's a good one. So I'll pull this down. I'll shrink this a bit. It's got a bit huge. Or I want to see this much bigger or much smaller. So yeah, that's a good one. So when you have another video track over the other one, imagine that it's like a vision switcher, that stuff is so if I drag in, let's say, maybe not this, it could be a bit huge, anything. So just drag in another clip, media files. So back to my media pool. So hopefully, just drag in another track. So when you drag in another video clip in the edit window, right, where are we? Media pool. I'll just drag something else over the top. So I want this to be on another video track. It will automatically start to hover and make a video 2, audio 2. So I'm just going to see the way it's as soon as I do that. So I want this to be sit on top, let's just say. Hopefully that worked. Wherever I put it. No, it didn't. So whatever this is, there we go. So now I've got, so when you're dealing with multiple, there's no audio on this, which is interesting, I think. No, there isn't. Okay, there wasn't any audio on that clip, which is a pretty bad example. It kind of tells you if there's audio on the clip or not. I think what that little musical icon means. So let's say if I drag this, and now, okay, here we go. So now I've got, and it's not oh, there we go. So now I've got a different video track, and it's like layers of an onion. So basically what's going to happen, if I just zoom in on this, is, yeah, you're probably asking, how do I overlay stuff? How do I, put an image?
So they know you can.
Yeah, exactly. So if I press play here, it's this clip. It's a really fast, abrupt clip, actually. But you can disable the video track. So this is the one that sits on top is the one that will always be sitting on top, if you will. So video 1 is now going to be overwritten by video 3 because I put it above it in the layer in the chain. So if I go to video 3 here, let's say if I want to actually see what's going on, I can disable the video track. And now I can see this guy here. Okay, but otherwise it's playing as this is what we'll show. So let's say if I wanted to transform, so to show you that it's still all there, it's still all sitting on top of each other, it's just in the layering. So this video track now, if I start to zoom and see the way it's sitting on top of the other video track. So if let's say if I wanted to have 2 at the same time, I can do that. I can just move this. I can alter the Y position. I just want this lady here to sit above this guy, and it's still going to play. It's still sitting. So everything sits on top of each other like layers of an onion, if you will. So you could have a still image to the side. What we call a PMP, a picture-in-picture, is well, what that is I'm sure you're quite used to that in YouTube and things like that. Is like gamers do this. They have their video game going on, and then there's a little talking head down at the side telling you what's going on and stuff. So that's how you achieve that. So you can sit video, still images, layers on top of each other. With different timelines. So now I've got video 1, video 2, video 3, audio 1, audio 2. So we've got different timelines. And yeah, you can even sort of start to make multicam stuff, which is, a different...
So the top one can be like 100% over.
Yeah,
sitting
absolutely.
over. And then you can change the opacity. So then it's like you're doing composites.
Absolutely.
When you learn how to fade in and out, do your dissolves, it can be quite subtle. And then Garrett will be able to show you how to do titles.
Yeah, so titles and cross dissolves and things like that is all in the effects window here. So that's I didn't really...
You don't have to...
Before we
What
touched
happens
on the
if you go-
inspector.
What happens if you go Control T? Does it automatically throw up a title? The possibility of doing a title?
Not so much. I think that's all in the effects window. So we have... yes, I'm so used to this being much huger.
I wanna make
So we got video transitions, audio transitions. So it dissolves and stuff. I'm saying media offline. That's so interesting. So yeah, see the way I'm starting to additive dissolve, blur dissolve between the clips. So the thing about cross dissolve as well, you need to have something to cross. So if you have a clip that ends and a clip that begins, there's nothing to dissolve. So you need to just smash them together a little bit, sit them a little bit together in time, so you actually can do a cross dissolve. So see the way the clips are starting to, and this is really powerful because if I want to do this, I just now drag the dissolve onto the clip that I want, dip to color dissolve, non-additive dissolves. See that they're all quite a different sort of transition.
Can you show them dragging it on?
Yeah. So if I want to blur dissolve, this is what it's going to look like. I'm just going to drag it onto the clip, and then the clip will tell me, I hope, if I've done this right, that that is actually going to happen.
That'd be dragged onto a cut, wouldn't it? Or...
Yeah, I think so. So sorry, I'm going to have to probably merge these two clips here a little bit and then see, okay, now I've got a center line. Now I've got something in between these two guys, and see the way it's now gone split screen. It's showing me that these are the two, this is where the transition is going to happen. And then if I want to cross dissolve, I'll drag it here, and hopefully this has worked. So this is a live demonstration. This is always so interesting. Blur dissolve, I drag that here. What it should be showing me is the point at which this is actually going to happen. Moment of out.
It won't work if you're at the absolute head of a shot or a...
Oh, you're right, exactly. Yeah, I have to kind
You
of
need some
smash them.
You need some overlap. It has
That's
to have
true,
some
totally
overlap.
true. Why isn't that happening for me? Yeah, anyway, Mary's absolutely right. Oh, yeah, there we go. So now I've actually got some distance between them both. And if I stick my blur dissolve in here we go. Oh, blur dissolve. Okay, nice. Okay, there we go. Now it's working.
Blur dissolve, that's nice.
So that is showing me now that I've just put a blur dissolve between these two clips, and see the way that wasn't working for me at first because I was at the absolute start and the absolute end. So you need something to cross over to dissolve to, if you will. So now this is showing me the length of my blur dissolve and how it's actually taking place. So I know it's kind of the same clip, which is a little bit of a bad example, but I can make that dissolve bigger or smaller, depending on the amount of headroom I've left in between each clip.
What are we
if you-
seeing? Are we seeing the top shot though now? We're seeing video.
You're right. You're right. Actually, that's true. Yeah, totally. So I'll just disable this video track. Hopefully this is the one that's working. This one, video 2. You're right. Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
There you go.
That's Sorry.
Beautiful.
So Mary's right. So yeah, you can kind of get confused with this stuff. So video 2 is enabled, and that was sitting on top the guys with the horses there, whatever they're up to.
People following? Yeah? Good.
So there's the blur dissolve. See the way it's you can see it's a nice slick effect there, and I can make that smaller, but I can only make it as large as the amount of headroom I've left between those two clips, between the runner and between the dude with the ute in the canyon. Right.
Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, the effects are extremely powerful. So any clip that you click on, you can sort of see all this arrow in stuff. Really, that's really, really corny 80s, old school video editing. But there's much more cool stuff like band wipe, which is, all really cheesy stuff. But when you get into the fusion stuff, it can get quite nice. So you can get brightness flashes, camera shake, actually make the camera, and you can preview all these effects. And if you want to add them, you just drag it onto the clip, which is really nice. Circular spin, it's all very, very crazy stuff. I don't know if, but you can make it all very edgy. There's all sorts of cool, film strip if you wanted to add, kind of emotion-y, like you're about to start a movie. There's all sorts of, effects can be cheesy and they can be extreme. So, but they are there. So rotate, slide up. So yeah, there's a bunch of like really fun stuff. This is a burn away one where you can just burn the image, if you want to. So it's showing you how it's going to look in time. And the titles and stuff. So here we go. Here's all about titles. So here's how to add, stuff like, let's say if I want to do a simple lower third, like a left lower third, I'll just drag this and now it becomes its own window. And so now I go into my lower third, which I've disabled, which is why it's not working. So see the way it says title sample now in the left right corner there. So I'll just click on this and I should be able to affect this, with the stuff like I can call it something different. I'll go design. There we go. And see the way design sample. So I've just changed what it says in the design thing and design, and there should be another one. And this is where it says sample. Instead, I'll go demo. Design demo, and see the way I'm affecting. I can now affect the font, the color, all that stuff. The drop shadow behind it, the backgrounds, the opacity, the radius, its position. So all these effects like middle lower thirds, right lower third. I can add all these and scroll titles. So that's how you do text. So you would add it as a new video track, and then you go into the inspector, and then you can alter its position, its rotation, you can do all sorts of stuff with effects. And
But you're still in the editing window, aren't you?
yes, pretty much everything I've done is been through the editing window here. So I've just added the title as its own video track, and it's going to sit over whatever we want to do. So there we go. So this is just some of the movies. That's the title I just added. I just added a left lower third, and here in the inspector, when I click into it, it will tell me this is what I want to say. So if I say design is awesome, you can write whatever you want pretty much. You can do whatever you want. Alter the color, the size of the lettering. You can make it absolutely huge, or you can make it small, or whatever you want. So yeah, that's all that. You can put shadows behind it. So yeah, there's a lot of powerful text. Clean and simple here. A lot of different designs. You probably tweak your own stuff and save ones that you like, sample, so there's a huge amount of text. Probably do the Star Wars thing where it goes, up like, triangle like the intro for Star Wars. I think that's probably there. Yeah. Okay, so that's text. So we talked about text.
Audio dissolve?
Audio?
Yeah, dissolve on the audio.
Yeah, so we have video transitions, audio transitions.
Yeah.
So in the free version here, it's pretty simple. It's just crossfades. So let's say if I have two different clips, I might have to cut these. So let's just go Control A, Control Blade. We'll just cut everything there. I'll just smash these two together. It's probably not the best thing to do. It's going to be weird. But anyway, just for the purposes of the demonstration. So yeah, audio dissolve will work kind of like a video dissolve. So I'll just drag a crossfade in here and see the way that there's kind of different crossfades. So this will go up. Crossfade of -3 will fade between the two audio clips. So we'll fade both of them down by -3 dB, moving through the clip in a kind of, and you can affect the length of it based on, you know, the amount of transition you've left. So what this is doing is it's kind of fading up and then the other one will fade in. So yeah, crossfades at 0, crossfades at -3. Yeah, which is cool stuff.
Another tool, because it's a little bit like conducting. Editing's a bit like conducting. It's very time-based. So as Garrett was saying, 2 seconds is a long time. I would say 10 seconds is a long time, but then I'm sort of part of the slow film movement. I like sort of things to happen in breathing pace rather than kind of too much of an assault on the senses, unless it's what you're trying to do. But the audio is the same as far as the time goes, and you're breathing in and out. And what you're trying to do is to have kind of a graceful, imperceptible changes so that you're not thrown out of the story by, oh my God, what was that? Unless you want, oh my God, what was that? So dissolves are a way of finishing things off in a smooth way, like suddenly the end when the credits come up or whatever, then you're having to decide when the music stops. Or so your layers become like dialogue layers, sound effects layers, atmosphere layers, music layers. So you can just go down and down and down. There's no end to the number of tracks, audio tracks that you can have.
Absolutely, and see at the start and end of every clip, you'll see this little white thing, and that's just a fade. So automatically, I can just start to fade this in. So you can just pull that like Logic or something, and then this is a thing where you can alter the kind of the how you want how the kind of curve on that fade. So if I want that fade to kind of fade in like that, or if I wanted to fade in like really abruptly, or if I wanted to slowly fade in. And this works for video as well, so you can just pull the clips at the very start. So works for video. So I can fade in the video. Yeah, they've all got handles on the start and end. So what this will do is, you see, it will sort of go from black to, that was really fast. I get that. But yeah, you get it. You can make a fade really slow and long and alter the curvature. So yeah, there's handles on the start and end of every clip to kind of, you know, be able to do really nice fading. Like if any of you use Logic Pro X or Pro Tools or any of the audio programs, will be very, very similar to that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty nice little touch because, yeah, as Mary said, it's very subtle and it'll save you a lot of kind of huge amount of
Can I just try
grief.
something?
Yeah,
Is that-
absolutely.
Is this black line here? Is this one here that if you pull it up and down? No.
No, it's these little white looking tic tac.
No, I mean for the.
Oh, yes, for
here you
the
go.
volume, yeah. So for volume,
Okay.
you can just pull that down or
Oh,
push
you
it
gotta
up.
show them that. Oops. Anyway.
Yeah, same with volume. There's this little line running around the center of the clip, and if you grab it, you can just alter it and see the way it's minus 98.
That's
Minus.
a way of altering the volume over the whole.
I can see the transformation in the waveform visually, how large it is which is not a good way to look at audio. I mean, you can't look at audio, if you will. It's a big mistake to do that, but it is a lovely way to identify peaks and troughs and clicks and
Well, it's
sort of visual audio
You're
is.
working with the footage on a very connected kind of way that you know where you are.
So if we talk just very briefly about the audio, so if I go into here, you'll see this thing called, what Mari's quickly talking about is Fairlight, and now I'll just see my audio channels in the same way that we're seeing our video channels, but it's just representative of audio. So if you click this, there's a number of channels, so you can see here the channels I have here on my right. This is like an audio mixer, it says audio 1, audio 2. So there we go, there's meters there and stuff like that, and every is equipped with inputs which will be for a different interface. So this is the dialogue leveler. This is like really totally powerful. So basically what the dialogue leveler will do when it's actually working is it will kind of interpret the human voice, and this is the amount of it you want. So if there's a huge amount of noise, like I'd be very careful with this thing though, because it's like, the thing about it is it very quickly sounds weird but it is awesome. So it will kind of like cut someone's voice out of an environment, but it will take the whole environment out and just have the voice. But it can sound, I don't know how to describe it. It just sounds, if you overuse it, it just sounds weird. But if there's background noise and stuff and you just crank it up, just a touch, it's really, really nice. But you need to leave some of the ambience, because if you cut all ambience out of audio, people just they kind of don't know why it's wrong, but it just is. You know, it's just why is this weird? But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, and which is pretty nice. So the dialogue leveler is cool, and you can deactivate plugins by just clicking on them. So there's order, effects, dynamics. Where are we with Fairlight?
I mean, you might find that you never go into Fairlight. I mean, with your work, you might find that you just do everything in the edit setting, and that's absolutely enough and fine.
Mm.
They might not even need the cutting room as well.
Yeah.
Timeline.
Yeah, the cutting room is for a large amount of footage. That's more a movie industry pipeline. As I said, you've got 8 cameras. They were shooting for 8 hours, and you've got heaps of clips.
Keep things quite simple.
Yeah, so maybe edit. Fairlight is nice. You can just audio, use the automatic dialogue level. There's also EQ dynamics in here, things like that. Oh, I'm not really seeing that as.
It's also probably advisable to try to control what you can before you start recording. So to be aware of where you put your microphone. Like if the microphone that Gerard's talking into was on the other side of the room, it would collect the whole of the room noise, and his voice would sound quite distant. And if you wanted to bump up the volume of his voice, then you'd also be bumping up the volume of all the room clatter, buzz and all the rest of it. So it's always better to have your microphone as close to the mouth as you can. And the reason why people hold it, when you see people making films and they've got the big microphone dangling down on the end of the boom, it's because the voice resonates in the chest cavity. And so you would most often have the microphone here, and also because the camera person can compose by cutting off just above the top of the head, so you can't see the microphone. So in a situation where you've got 2 actors talking and walking, the boom operator has to then kind of estimate, kind of move with them and try and keep out of frame. It's a real art. People who can do this, they have a kind of 3D perception and a huge degree of physical coordination, because they've got a long boom, can be like twice as long as this table, and having to hold something and move. It's a dance. Pretty impressive. But if it's all impossible, then people wear radio mics. But that can be a problem. Radio mics and t-shirts are really visible. There's all of these, and the audio is never as good as a microphone. But if you've got somebody walking in front of a stream and you've got the microphone on an angle and pointing at the stream, it's going to hear the stream. Conversely, if you've got the microphone underneath pointing up, you might hear all the birdies tweeting in the trees, which you would think sounds all well and good, but it's better to record the birdies separately from the human voice so that you can edit. You don't want to have a birdie tweet at the wrong time and a birdie tweet where you have to suddenly have a bird tweeting and then you have to chop off half a tweet. That's why when people are filming in a car or in a room, they'll turn off the radio, the car radio, and then lay in radio track later. It's controllable. Everything has to be separate and controllable. So if you're in a shop and there's music playing, in a clothes shop, so that you'll feel funkier and buy more stuff, you've got to ask them to turn off the radio, turn off the audio. Okay, sorry.
No, that was really interesting. Actually, no, you're totally right. All right, so very briefly to touch on what color grading here is. There's people who do this for a living in the movies and stuff. There's people who are professional color graders. They do this and only this for a living. Good place to start. So as I said, when I first saw this, it looked like the inside of an alien spaceship or something. I was like, what the hell is all this? But yeah, there's a bunch of controls. So at the moment, you'll see all these controls. These are camera raw. That's if you're If you borrow the Blackmagic 6K camera in there, you'll be able to change the color temperature, the tint, the exposure. So if you have the camera set to a wrong ISO, if you shot in RAW, you can then go back and change the ISO, which is unbelievable, which is just the kind of... Anyway, let's not get into that. So you've had these. This is when you hold up a color chart, which we have these things actually in the DRH. You can match it to the... So you like hold this thing up and then in your environment, and then you put this back in. There's a number of different ones, legacy, color checkers, and you can match this. Let's say if I wanted to do that, I can match this to the board. Go into here, and then I want to go my color chart, and then when I held up that color chart, I'll be able to align these colors to the environment which I shot in the first place, if you will.
I guess I just, sorry to interject, but
Sorry.
one thing that really helped me with color grading, help the students as well, is you can just, to start, people have LUTs online, so a lookup table that is already custom made, and then you can put that on your footage and then play with that already, and slowly you can learn intuitively. I guess the important thing though you can tell them is if they use the Blackmagic cameras, to make sure they have it on a flat color profile. Because if it's not on a flat color profile, you can't do any color grading on top of it.
Absolutely. It's on manual settings. So like if you have a camera on auto exposure and stuff, it's going to start changing. And then, so that's why, the professionals would use, manual settings. So to talk about how this all works. Okay, so here's a really good start with color grading. So check out this clip here we're looking at. So all these wheels do a lot of different and awesome things. So HDR, let's just go with this one. So these are our primary wheels, and see this little A button? This is like nice. This is a really good start. Just press A and it will go automatically, and it will do it for you. Hopefully this will actually do it. It might take a second. There we go. And see the difference? So this is a clip that's been color graded. Let's see if we can loop this clip actually. So these are nodes. So okay, so every node is like, imagine it's like a workhorse. It's like you telling it to do something different. So if I deactivate this node command, do you see the difference between the color grading? See, like, check out the difference. It's unbelievable. So a good place to start is A. Stands for automatic, but it's kind of cheating, but as well. But if I go into the color wheels here, so I'm now affecting where's my waveform scopes? So yeah, always trust your scopes. So if I start to pull this down, I'm affecting the offset. It's a little bit sluggish here because you're affecting your pivots, your contrast, your saturation, your color boost, your shadows. It's very sluggish because this computer isn't amazing. And the node is deactivated. That's probably why.
Get LUTs online.
Yes, people online that make, let's say, a film LUT. And so that will be a preset that someone's already done the color grading for. And then if you have a flat color profile image, you just put the LUT on and it'll do it pretty decently. And then you can modify the levels or so.
True.
Right. So if you do too much mucking around in the beginning, you back yourself into a corner, eh?
Yeah, I feel like most people, they put on like a basic LUT and then go from there.
So what they're talking about is a LUT is basically, it's built into cameras. It'll be built into your phone. It's built into GoPros. It's built in, so they're not shooting raw. They're not shooting without colors. So it actually looks good for your average consumer and stuff. That's what a LUT is. And if you go into there's a LUTs menu here, and there's a bunch of different cameras like Astro Design, Blackmagic Design, DCI, GGL. These are all movie companies. Film Lux. So there's a bunch of, these are LUTs that I can apply in real time here. That's what he's talking about there. Olympus. This is the Olympus LUT that will be on an Olympus camera. Panasonic. The legendary red cinema camera. This would be the red LUT. So you can see the way LUTs will, you can download a bunch of them online.
See that shot there on the right? It looks quite flat.
This one?
That one. But only part of it. It's quite flat. So what it does is it leaves you with a lot of latitude. Like you can push it either way.
Yep.
But if you have it like you shoot with it really high contrast, then you're going to get stuck.
So there's an example of the red LUT. So this is what you're talking about is basically, so there's it flat and here's it with the LUT on it. You can see the difference is quite huge. So there's a whole bunch of LUTs. You're right. Here's the Sony ones, and it can make a real film look. Like if you like a look of a movie, like if you say, oh, I really like that scene in the Avengers, and you can sort of go for that look. But without doing all that, you can do all this manually. So these are the primary color wheels. So see, if you look at your scopes, I'm now affecting the shadows here with this wheel. So I can really pull the blacks out. Yeah, or make the shadows really shadowy, or the color boost, put heaps more color into it, or suck all the color out of it and make it black and white.
Is there exposure histogram? I don't want to make life hard for you, Garrett.
No, it's okay. I'm sure there is. So see the way all the scopes are doing a little dance here. This is your RGB values, and what we're looking at here, this is showing us is basically from left to right. You're looking at the image. So we'll discuss something that we call. So you can reset everything, by the way. Reset all these. So when you get into this, what I would do in the first place is these things are called nodes, and I can right click on this and I can go, add nodes. So let's say my first node, you can name them to, and I would label them. I would go and call this the corrector node, because from left to right, what your scopes are showing you is the image. Did that work? No, it didn't. Because I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. Corrector. So it's a good habit to get into, label these nodes. So this one, corrector, let's say, right, I'm going to cheat here. I'm just going to hit the A button and let it correct, my RGB values. So I'm going to add a second node, which might be a look. So I'll go add node, add a serial node, and you can see that they're like plugins. You can add them as like on top of each other, so correctors. It'd be cool that my first node is correcting my second node. Maybe I'm going for a look. Maybe I'm going for a black and white node. Maybe I want to suck all the color out of it.
So
I call that black and white.
Left to right in that window where you're pulling the nodes around, is that left to right time-based or spatial or?
The way the nodes work. No, they're just kind of stacked on top of each other. Like imagine they all do a different thing. They're all like weightlifters. They're all gonna do so this is gonna do the correction. You can do it all in one node, but imagine if you have one node that has got like 100 things going on in it. When you go back and let's say, oh no, I want to do my contrast again, you're like, oh wow, which one was? So now it's telling me that, okay, this one has autocorrect on it and it's done this RGB value correction. So let's say this one, it's going to reset node grade, and you can always reset nodes, reset the node grade. So this one, node label, I'm going to call this one, let's say contrast. Contrast.
Like layers and
different keyboard.
A different keyboard. Wow.
Yeah. Basically like a layer.
That's what happens when you get old. 1000%. So now I'm going to adjust the contrast here. So now I'm going to, let's say, pivot the contrast down a little bit, bring that contrast. This is just an example. I'm not saying that this is necessarily what would look good, but so now I know, and you can always go back and see what this looks like. So I can take off the color correction, Control D will disable the node, I hope. Different keyboard once again. I don't know. Confusing. Control T will always disable your node, so you can go back. So that's what it looked like without the correction. This will look like with this correction, and now turn the contrast back on. So you can always. So that's why it's a good idea to just add nodes. You can have 100 nodes, but I think it's better to have 10 nodes labeled doing different things than it would be to have one node doing 100 things, because you'll just get so confused. And yeah, so these are the primary color wheels. You can pull them around, pull off the offset. You can see it's how powerful it is. I mean, you could make everything look like you're in Greenland or something, or World of Green, or pull down and up the contrast, suck the color out of everything, contrast, highlights. This is like the most powerful color grading software in the world. This is what they use in Hollywood to do movies. I mean, the Avengers and all this stuff. This is all done on Vinci Resolve. So you can see how absolutely powerful it is. I'm not necessarily saying that what I'm doing now is what I would actually do in the real world, but just showing you how ultimately powerful it is. This is another thing. I don't know how long I can keep talking for, but this is pretty awesome. The color warper. This is really cool. So you can actually get into this and see the qualifier. I can start to, maybe there's a better example of a clip. So here, if I use the color warper, I can start to put my qualifier and see the way I'm warping this guy there and stuff, and warping just a certain, maybe I can pull this a little bit down a bit. No, maybe I can't. So yeah, I'm just going in to see the way now I'm just changing the color of the hedges of the. So you like the color warper is awesome. So I can pick a particular point in the image, and see the way now it's just the greenery that's changing. It's just now it's super green. Now I've pulled it into, so I'm totally warping certain points of an image. And if I wanted to stick with that, let's say, right, I like that green. I'll just go in here to the color warper, right click it, and say, hopefully, just stick with that. There's a way you can do that. What do you do in here? Oh yeah, grab still, apply grade, show picker RGB value. This is kind of, yeah, so the color warper is awesome. So there is a way that you can, I think it's click these points and make them stick where you had them. So if I like that green, There is a way to do this. I just forget how to do it.
Has anybody got any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably heaps. Go on, be brave. I mean, it's very easy to get completely lost in these tutorials. I know that when I was trying to learn After Effects, I'm like,
What else is very, very super awesomely cool? I don't know if it's in the free version.
you can see how playing around and seeing like, what does this do? What does that do? Because you can't break anything. And if you got kind of lost in your setups, you can always reset. You go to your windows and reset in case you wonder what you've done with your media library or your timelines or.
Yeah, you can always undo.
Create a new node. Sorry, when you're in the node.
Oh, right. So you just right click on one. So if see what's on my contrast, and then we'll say node,
Oh,
add serial before. There's ways that you can just select certain clips or certain timelines and color them all together. And you can copy grades. So let's say if I really like this grade, I say, oh, I really like the way that the runner looks there. And so I can just copy, I'll go to my next clip and I will just literally paste. I hope with the right keyboard, obviously.
So each clip ends up with its own set of nodes.
Yeah, so now I've just copied the runner grade onto this one, which is, it doesn't look right, but you know what I'm saying? So like, let's say if you're in the same environment and stuff that you could just
Yes.
copy nodes and grades and, oh, I like that look, let's just use it again. You can save looks, you know, paste them and stuff like that.
So that's what grading is for, because what you're doing is you're creating a world. And so if you're world building, you need to have integrity across the world. So the clips have to look like they're in the same zone. It's like,
Sometimes you have different cameras as well. If you've got like a GoPro and then you've got a Blackmagic, you can make them look, you know, they shouldn't be really jarring that like, but this is meant to be the same environment, but it looks so different. Like
Yeah.
that's what color grading is for, to make it look the same, you know, to make everything kind of, level, I suppose. I'm not sure if this is in the free version. The tracker is so totally cool. Let's say if we get this clip, hopefully this is going to work. We'll see. Where is it? Tracker. Hopefully this is going to work for me. I'm not sure if this will, but power window. Nope. Let's do this again. Tracker.
and I
Ye-
suppose at the end then we have to look at exporting and
Oh yeah, okay, right. Let's go to that. So anyway, there's heaps of stuff here. You can track people. You can track stuff. You could like blur out someone's face, like if it was Police 10-7 or something you're shooting and they didn't really agree with being on camera, or you know, one of those type of shows. Yeah, you can do all that stuff. Gaussian blurs, effects. You can make effects in here. You can make an affected node. Anyway, we'll talk about delivery, I suppose, in the end. So let's say we go back to our other window. We're happy with everything, and for example, I just want to export, let's say, this part of it, maybe the runner or something, because we did a bit of work with that. So remember our JKLIO with the correct keyboard, of course, our JKLIO thing. So in point, and I'm going to go out point, because I just want to export, let's say, this clip. I'm happy with this, and I think, okay, that's awesome. Yay, I've done loads of work, and I'm really happy. There's loads of different keyboards and mice in front of me. It's really confusing. Anyway, so we go into our delivery window here. And so you can render the entire timeline, or you can render the in-out range. And what I think is the most accurate is the in-out range, which we just talked about. So now delivery is the thing. So we're just where we're going to put it. So this is pretty obvious. So let's say, let's just go somewhere that you want to put it. My desktop, downloads, maybe.
do you right click then?
No. So see this window here. So in the side window, okay, so I'm going too faster. So this is the in-out range. So this is what we're going to export.
Yeah.
So it's all lit up there, which is
Yep.
pretty nice. So this is the file name. Basically, it's pretty obvious. Let's call it design demo. Where we're going to put it, different keyboards. Oh my god. Do you know what? I'm going to throw this thing away. It's just really like confusing the crap out of me. So we'll call this demo. Design demo. Design demo. Location, so it's like, where am I going to put it? Let's go desktop just for the time being. That's fine. Now we're going to default design demo. We don't have permission to save to this location. Oh, awesome. Yes, okay, I'll save to the videos folder then. That's a new one. The university computer. All right, so you can render single clips, individual clips, just the audio, the video, but we want to export the video. And now we'll get a bunch of options. So at the top here, there's like a custom export. And these are all like rendered to Twitter, to TikTok, to presentations, Premiere Pro, XML. So if I was sharing this with Mary or something and she wanted to have it as her Premiere Pro project, and I'm using DaVinci, she's using Premiere, this is the way we export it to Pro Tools, to Avid, to Dropbox. Facebook is really annoying because it will only let you have like a 20 meg video, which is like sacrilege in my opinion. But anyway, I suppose everyone's watching it on phones, so it probably doesn't make a huge difference. So yeah, this is a custom export, so we can tweak a huge amount of settings here. QuickTime, which is Apple, MOV, JPEG, AVI. Usually MP4 is pretty much, if you want an easy life, you'd probably just click YouTube at 1080p. And it will render, let's say, it's now going to render this at 24 frames a second. It's going to be 1920 by 1080, which is a resolution of...
24 frames these days, really.
This is what this was shot in, so it's matching the clip.
Oh, I see, okay.
And if we're talking about FPS, by the way, this is an important one. So just to touch on this very, very quickly, is that there is PAL and there is NTSC. So PAL in Europe and in America is going to be 25, what we call 25 FPS, which is frames per second. The reason that this exists is because of electricity. The Americans and the Europeans have different voltages, so the camera perceives the electricity. So I know that we're looking at these lights at the moment, and we can't see them blinking, but they are, because the human eye can't perceive that the camera perceives it. So 25 frames per second, we do this because we are 240 volts of electricity, and that's why we shoot at 25 frames per second. If I shot in the American standard of like 30 frames or 29.035, whatever it is, it will perceive the light here. It will, you'll get all this flickering. You'll really notice it in car parks and industrial settings, that the lights will be flashing like hell, and you look at your footage and go, what the hell? It's because you shot in 30 pips or 60 pips instead of PAL or NTSC. So we usually shoot at 25. That's the TV kind of delivery system. That's the European standard. You shoot at 50 frames per second if you want to have cool slow motion footage. So you're doubling the speed of your FPS, which is frames per second. So you shoot at 50 pips if you want a really nice sports slow motion, and because the footage will look awesome when you slow it down. But usually, so that's 24 frames a second is usually for cinema delivery for the movies, for the movie industry. You're going to show something in Hoyts or something. It's you shoot in 24. So all this stuff don't shoot in 30 fips or 60 fips because that's American. Shoot at 25 and 50 for an easy life. I mean, you can if you want, but your camera will perceive the flickering of indoor settings as because of the voltage, because they're 110 volts and we're 240 volts of electricity. That's why that exists. Okay.
And you can't see the flickering until you've shot it and looked at it.
Yeah.
So if in doubt, do a test.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Definitely in post, and it's impossible. It's impossible to get rid of it. So it's that's why that exists. So that's why frame rates, because this comes from So see the way I could do it at 23.976. So there's different cameras and 30 fibs. So anyway. 24 would be a cinema delivery, but that's fine. I mean, you're not going to notice this if it's going up on YouTube or if it's if I render this video out. All right, so format MP4, could change format QuickTime. I'm just doing easy life here, but if we go custom export, all these settings are tweakable. Like your encoder is basically the graphics card, what you want to use. If you've got a big NVIDIA GTX.
Blind it with too much info.
Sorry, so I'd say just stick to auto settings. Resolution, if I wanted this at a different resolution, 720, 1080, these are all different resolutions. Quality, automatic. Now, if you have, this is an interesting one, actually. This is quite interesting. So bitrate is, so if you ever, I don't know if anyone's ever downloaded movies off the internet, I certainly haven't, but the way that you get a 2-hour movie, you've got a long amount of footage, and if you have that at a huge bit rate of like 25,000 or something, it's going to be, you're going to end up with a 25 gig file, and you'll be like, really? So if you've got like an hour or 2 hours, and you want to, even if restricting the bit rate down to 6,000 will not really break your audio quality, but it will make your file a hell of a lot smaller. So if you've got an hour's worth of footage, and it ends up being like 25 gig file, you're like, really? You can restrict the bit rate to be, or you can go automatic best. But so if you've got a short video, you want to be super awesome, Avatar kind of James Cameron vibe, then go best. But you can restrict the bit rate to make the file massive or
Is there a way to preview like file size before you actually export?
In so many cool and other programs, DaVinci doesn't do that, which is really annoying because you don't know what you're going to end up with, and then it's like, yeah, no, I wish there was. In some, I've seen an Adobe Media Encoder and stuff. It actually tells you this file is going to be like 2 gigs, and you're like, oh, really? But in DaVinci, no, it's actually kind of a roll the dice kind of a thing, So. All right, okay, so let's say for an easy life. So anyway, there's loads of custom exports, advanced settings. You can get really nerdy on this and blah, blah, blah. But so let's just go 1080 for an easy life. We'll call this design demo. Design demo. Oh, right, okay, sure. You can upload it directly to YouTube if you enter all your credentials, blah, blah, blah. So, but you need to go add to render queue. And now this is my render queue. And you go render all. And then rendering in progress, and because this is a really short clip, that was massively quick. So hopefully now this is going to appear in the video folder, I would hope. Videos, I think that's where it went. Design demo, yeah, there we go. And there's my file that we just mixed out, rendered or color graded runner. I know it's very short, but this is just an example of. So there we go. So yeah, your clip is exported, and yeah, properties. So we exported it as a nice.
Well, you've got my top-down common sense.
Oh, I do, yeah. The 3D one's still on, yeah. So then it tells us 24 frames a second. We render to 1080, the bitrate, and yeah. So that's basically how you bounce out and deliver your final project using the in and out points and telling it what you wanted it as and where you wanted it to go as a file.
So in the beginning, when you set it up and you name it and then you push save, what you're doing is you're saving the project file somewhere. So the project file is different from the footage. So the footage can be quite high resolution and be quite a high, you don't want to shoot 8K and end up with truckloads of data. It's absolutely not, especially for our purposes, you don't want to go there. So that once Garrard's quit out of here, theoretically, there'll be the project file, which has got all of this information. So, he could go back into it again tomorrow and add more stuff, and that's his work, that's his, the work that he's done in Vinci Resolve. And the footage is left untouched. All of the footage that he's working with, nothing's happened to it. It's only a kind of like a proxy that he's been working on in the edit software. Yeah, it's not destructive physically to the file, so I'm not changing the source. I'm just, you can muck around and play and have fun. Now, are we ready for a break? Yeah? So can we thank Garrard, please? Thank you for listening. Cheers. And so 36, 15 minutes? Was that too much? 15's good? Okay, so 15, 46. Okay, 10 to 11. And then when we come back, Steve will talk us through Fab Lab Fabulouses.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I just had a question, because I noticed it while I was looking at it. Subtitles.
Yes.
Generate it automatically?
Yes, it can.
It can?
Yeah, that's a new feature. They kind of ripped off Premiere Pro, so you can do automatic subtitles. I think that happens probably somewhere in the edit window, probably. I know there's a YouTube video about this. This is the only reason I used to go back to Premiere Pro to do it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's so totally awesome. I think, how do you do it? I think that it's definitely somewhere in the audio. I might have to watch a YouTube video on this for you, but you can do it. It can do it. It's just a new feature they added. Media conform management, where is it edited?
Well, it's both, can it do it automatically and can I do it myself? Because from experience with Nocta Video.
I know. Yeah, it says crazy things. Yeah, totally. Like, no, totally.
Especially because I take
You absolutely can. I just can't remember how to do it. I think it's somewhere in the. It's definitely some sort of audio analysis. So I grab the audio and I go. Sorry. I don't know. I just kind of. Definitely watch a YouTube video about it because you can do it. I just, the way nobody can know everything. But I have done it before in DaVinci, and what it will do is just like the title editor that we're looking at, that will come up here on the left in your inspector. and you'll be able to, title it. So it will listen to the audio, it will transcribe it, and there's a couple of different languages. You can do it in Spanish and Swedish and all this kind of cool stuff. But it will come up like that, and then you'll get this long, kind of thing saying, and then you can edit it and go, no, that's not what he said. He didn't say the dog ran over the fence. He was saying like, you can sort of, but it's only like Premiere. I'm so sorry, I can't remember exactly how to do it, but it can do it because they've added that feature, and
But then they
yeah,
have
it's
training
it is in there.
When you
I guess
did
this was
it,
just to show them that they can do it. They didn't
did
download
it like
let it
match with the video? So
It was really good. Yeah, it was
it did?
really, really, really good. It was like pretty much bang on. Like it was there. It was better than Premiere. Like it was actually when it's it analyzes the audio clip.
yeah.
And God, how do you do this again? Sorry, it's just been a
We'll
while.
go to Dr. Google.
I'll create subtitles from audio. There you go. There's Dr. Google. So if we had somebody speaking,
So
try and do
timeline.
it. Yeah, where was that? Let's give it a go. If we had, where was that? Sorry, I just went.
I think
Was it
in
Fusion?
timeline.
Was it in timeline? Yeah. Create subtitles from audio. Yeah, cool. Totally awesome. Let's just even try it. So if you click it, you've reached a limitation with Vinci Resolve. Unlike the complete set of amazing features, Studio. Oh no, this one might be only in the not paid version. The paid version, sorry. So
You can
get your hopes up there, but
you can do it manually with like
yeah, with titles and stuff. Yeah, which is a
pain in
kind of a thing, but in many of the university computers, I know that they don't give individual Creative Cloud licenses to individual students, but they are on the computers in there.
Yeah.
So what you could do is you could go into Premiere and at the very end, let's say if you've done all your work in DaVinci, bring it back into Premiere and just get it to belt out some subtitles, and then you could do it. Yeah, so it seems to be only a feature that's in the paid version,
Yeah.
which is I didn't expect, but I knew there was some differences between them.
Fair enough.
But yeah. So it can be done, but if you really need to do it, by the way, I could help you with it because I've got access to the paid version, and like I'm around in design to help with all this stuff to help with digital content. So if you said, right, can you just put it through your paid version when you finish your video? If you go to me,
Yeah. It's just because I've
subtitles,
had a couple projects where they've specifically asked for
oh,
subtitles.
totally, 1,000%. And yeah, hard coding them too. Like just not or in VLC, it's sometimes if somebody's actually made an SRT file as they call it, you can hit V and then the subtitles come up, which is cool. But now I can help you with that. Yeah, I will totally help you if you need subtitles. I'll actually write the email address of the AV department here,
It was really nice, actually.
which is.
It's the 90s in Rome. 90s as artwork is so fun. This is a cool collectible to show people. There's a really great because I gave a lecture on the
Terrible writing.
production of
But yeah, no, if
Slow
you
One.
actually did work outside the video, I have the paid version and stuff, so I can just grab your final edit and go, right, let's add the subtitles and the last.
They have they do analysis.
Yeah, I'm always around in design
How
and
to
so
do three-point lighting.
yes, get married.
How to manage stuff in the really
So for all audio visual stuff, camera work, projectors, everything audio visual, this is the email address. And
with the
if you need help, I will help you.
Cine SI.
No worries.
I mean not S, I mean the CI. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool one.
Oh yeah, guys, so I just wrote that email address on the board. I forgot to mention that.
Oh.
That's the thing we've set up in the DRH for anything audiovisual. If anyone needs cameras or projectors or TV screens or so CAI_AV. It stands for Creative Arts Industries Audiovisual. And it's a direct line to me, Zane and Luke. Everyone needs digital.
Oh, I think it was Luke I saw on the train this morning.
So yeah, the DRH is kind of more focused on architecture and tutorials now and stuff.
No, where do I?
Oh, I need to drop this back. This thing is awesome.
Oh, the 360.
Yeah, maybe.
So
It's,
you've been playing with it.
yeah, totally, 1,000% on all the software as well. So I think I
you've
probably said too much about
You've
video
been
today.
taking it down. No. Oh, so you've been taking it down when you've been working with Zane, eh?
All the time, yeah.
Or did
all
we
the time.
stop recording?
Yeah, it's totally awesome. It's an amazing piece of kit, brilliant quality, and it's yeah, shoots awesome footage, and the software isn't so bad when you get used to it.
Do
So
I
it's
start it
nice,
again? Oh, I should have paused it.
Oh, cool. So that one's me, actually, because I think it's the first talk I've given it to you.
Oh yeah, cool. You got some sort of annoying voice off to the side. What about this? What about